Long time no see, man. Glad to be with you guys. Glad to get this process started. It is a unique circumstance, but it's unique for everybody, and we're all kind of feeling our way. I know one thing. I speak to the group when I express the sentiment that we're all excited. We miss football, man. We're glad to get moving. We got a lot of respect for this environment that we're in, and we're working our tails off to familiarize ourselves and adhere to the COVID protocols in an effort to keep the individuals and thus the collective group safe as we can possibly be in the midst of this. So we got a lot of things going on. It's exciting. We're trying to familiarize ourselves with the young people. Obviously, we've been working with those guys virtually for several months, but to be in the same physical space with them and have an opportunity to give and receive information and get to know them more intimately has been a positive thing over the last number of days. And we're excited and have a great deal of urgency about continuing that because we all acknowledge that this preseason process that we're going through is abbreviated and different in a lot of ways. And we'll be continually gaining an understanding about what those differences are. In the short term, we just have a great deal of urgency and respect for that. And we need to respect that in everything that we do daily and how we work. And so I'll open it up for questions with those things being said.
All right, first question, Mike Pursuta from WDVE. Mike, go ahead.
How's it going, Mike? Your offensive coordinator, Randy Fichtner, yesterday made reference to getting the rookies involved without the traditional rookie transitional steps, OTAs, and the like. Will there be more of an emphasis this year on just figuring out what they can do and doing that as opposed to preparing them, all-encompassing everything that their job is supposed to entail?
I don't know that our agenda relative to their development changes. The time in which we have to develop them and the access to them is what's different. So there's a different urgency. And there's an acceleration of the process, if you will. But in terms of the things that the boxes we need to check with them, the ways in which we get to know them and things of that nature, that is unchanged. We also have to acknowledge in this environment that there'll probably will be less of a finished product as they step into regular season stadiums in 2020 than they are in normal circumstances, but that won't be exclusive to our rookies. That will be global. So it'd be prudent for all of us globally to be thoughtful, particularly at the early stages of the season, about what we ask our young guys to do because of those circumstances.
Next question is from Brooke Pryor, ESPN.com. Brooke, go ahead.
Hey, Mike. Yesterday, Randy said that he thought Ben would get out on the field yesterday and throw a little bit. And he said to that point, he hadn't seen him throw in real life. Have you had an opportunity to see him throw? And did he throw out on the field at Heinz yesterday?
We didn't have him throw here yesterday. We've really been focusing on getting to know these young guys. But obviously, he's been throwing, and that throwing has been going well. We like where he is. We don't have any reservations about him being a fluid participant in this training camp process.
Okay, next question is from Dale Lawley from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Dale, go ahead.
And Mike, you've always been a guy who has competition periods throughout all your practices. Do you need to do that even more this year, or do you do it the same given the lack of preseason games to get a good look at some of these guys?
The live opportunities and looks are really framed by the collective bargaining. In this environment, we all have parameters. We get 14 padded practices. We all globally get those. If we're smart, we're going to utilize those padded practices to evaluate. We're going to utilize those padded practices to teach, to get to know people. And so just live action is just a part of that. We've done that in the past and probably even more so in this environment for obvious reasons, not getting an opportunity to have preseason games and such. We want to have an understanding of what we're going to get from people as we go into New York in the opener. And the only way to do that is to put that ball on the ground, spot it, and play football. So that's what we intend to do.
Okay, next question is from Jerry Dulac from the PG. Jerry, go ahead.
Hey, Mike, I think the last time we chatted, we were going and you were going under the assumption that there would be preseason games. Of course, there weren't. How much more problematic is that for you? Maybe not even just from an evaluation process, but maybe just a physical process getting ready for the regular season.
You know, I think we're going to all discover that. I've been in the league 20 years. I've never been in a situation like this where we're going into it without the opportunity to have preseason games. So, you know, I feel like I have an understanding of the issues and what's required and the process that we need to take our guys through in order for them to be ready. But I think all of us collectively are going to be feeling our way to some degree there and possibly be, you know, issues get revealed to us along the way. And so we got to have a hardcore plan, but we also have to be light on our feet and be thoughtful, particularly about the things that we ask inexperienced players to do as we divvy up and define roles. It's just going to be a component of it.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, we'll move on to Joe Rudder from the Trib. Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Mike. Have you gotten a chance yet at all to, I mean, I know you know from the past, but with Eric Ebron, you know, to see what he looks like coming in here? And do you think you'll be able to use, you know, multiple tight ends on the field this season?
You know, we're familiar with Ebron's talent. We've played him quite a bit since he's been in the league. We're excited about acquiring him and adding him to our offensive mix. He's a talented guy with a unique skill set for his position. We're excited about carving out a role and highlighting those talents. And, you know, some of it may include multiple tight end personnel groups. Some of it may not. That's a thing that's going to be ironed out through this process. He's a viable receiving option and one that we're going to be excited about getting familiar with utilizing.
Next question comes from Jenna Harner from Channel 11. Jenna, go ahead.
Hey, Mike, what's impressed you the most about the rookies and just kind of how they've handled this very, very different, strange situation here?
You know, I don't know that I've been uniquely impressed at this juncture. I don't know that they've had an opportunity to based on what it is that we're doing. We're thoughtful about working our way into this training camp like work for two specific reasons. The National Football League has been very thoughtful about it. We want to control the COVID environment as we bring people together and minimize the impact potentially of that as we get started. And also we wanted to have an emphasis on conditioning, acknowledging that we've been working remotely all off season. So to this juncture, it hadn't been a lot of football. There's been a lot of teaching, a lot of conditioning and things of that nature for those reasons.
Next question comes from Mark Caboli from The Athletic. Mark, go ahead.
Hey, Mike, you routinely tell the guys not to be that guy when it comes to sending them off the bye week. With that in mind, how do you stress the 20, 21, 22-year-old kids that, you know, may not be here in 6 weeks, that their off-the-field decisions in this climate could have a significant effect on the season? How do you make them understand that? And is that a daily message?
You message it thoughtfully. You use catchphrases, and you guys know I like catchphrases, but what you're talking about is conduct that is detrimental. And that's a term that's used often in our business, and appropriately so. Because in this COVID environment, if you're not exercising discretion and being thoughtful about how you move, that conduct is detrimental to your cause and to ours collectively. And so that's the messaging that I'm delivering to those guys. You know, we got to conduct ourselves accordingly. There's been a lot of work to position ourselves to be where we are right now. You know, it's one fail, all fail in this environment. And so we're going to continue to package the messaging that way and be very transparent. It is that. It's conduct detrimental to their efforts and ours.
Next question is from Jeff Hathorn from 93.7 The Fan. Jeff, go ahead.
Hey, Mike, you mentioned conditioning. How have you found the conditioning of the team as they've reported, and also not just physically but mentally? How have they studied, and how do you feel that they've adapted?
You know, I feel good about the level of physical conditioning that I've witnessed thus far. In terms of the mental readiness, it just hadn't been a lot of opportunities to display that at this juncture. We're not breaking the huddle and playing football and executing assignments. Oftentimes, a guy can articulate what it is you've taught him, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he can execute it. So we're reserving judgment in terms of some of those things until we get an opportunity to watch them execute a lot of the things that we've instructed, not only this week, but even dating back to the very beginnings of this process that we've started virtually.
All right, moving on. We're going to go to Tim Benz from the Trib. Tim, go ahead.
Mike, I was wondering, based on what Randy said yesterday, made the point about Ben Roethlisberger coming back, the excitement therein, but at the same time impressing upon all the offensive guys. Just because he's back, you still got to work on your own stuff and be good on your own. To that end, specifically with Juju Smith-Schuster, what did the staff tell him about where they want his game, you guys want his game to improve this season, independent of who the quarterback is throwing him the football?
Juju and the rest of the veterans to this point are still in the testing stage. We haven't began the formal process with those guys. So, those type of conversations that you suggest have not transpired to this point in any formal way.
Okay, next question is from Aditi Kinkabala from NFL Network. Aditi, go ahead.
Hey, Coach Tomlin, you have a few weeks before you actually get them in pads. How is the teaching and the instruction different right now, or what is the work that you are doing that is different right now than what you did virtually in the spring? And also, do you have any expectations that any of your players will opt out?
The work that we're doing right now in person obviously is very different than the virtual work. Just the physical clues that you pick up as you communicate with people when you're in the same space. The body language, man, there's more opportunities for feedback for the players to express understanding, to get further clarification, for you as a teacher to feel them and get a sense of the overall intake. So we're working in a very different environment. There's a sense of urgency because of the challenges that the circumstances have presented. And we're just pushing our way through that. In regards to the opt-outs, I had spent a lot of time, these circumstances, and very much a part of these circumstances, and people have to make individual decisions. And if and when those things come up, we'll deal with them appropriately.
Okay, the last one, I believe I inadvertently cut Jerry off. Jerry, go ahead with your final question.
Mike, part of your answer there got garbled what Aditi asked about opt-outs. Could you repeat that?
Yeah, I said I hadn't spent a lot of time trying to anticipate potential opt-outs. Those are very individual decisions, and we're respectful of those. And so we'll just deal with them if and when they arise.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Thanks, Coach.
Hey, guys, I appreciate, just in general, I appreciate you guys throughout all of this. I recognize these are unusual circumstances. I look forward to maybe accommodating you guys in whatever ways we need to accommodate you. So if you have additional questions, if things come up, please reach out to Bert, man. I'm going to work my tail off to give you guys what it is you need. I understand that this environment is a challenge for you as well, and I want to do my part in terms of lessening that if and when I can.